This is 5 Minute Feng Shui, episode 86, Water for Wealth. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Hello and welcome to 5 Minute Feng Shui. Today we are talking about water, and in particular, water for wealth. Water is essential for life. We know that, and it is actually part of the name of Feng Shui. Feng means wind, Shui means water, and water is the element that, well, we can't live without, and that represents money and income and the flow of money and income into our home. Now, water is one of the best elements for bringing your home's feng shui up and for making it a place that's activated. Now, many people think of water as being sort of yin and it's still and motionless, but what we always want to talk about and what I want you to think about when we're talking about water for wealth is that we're talking about yang water. That is water that is active and it's flowing. And if you've ever heard of, the old saying that you never drink from still water, because still water is stagnant, and stagnant water can be poisonous. It can be full of bacteria. Water that is moving and has movement to it is active, living water. And that's what we want to have surrounding our homes, is living, active water. And water features are one of the best ways that you can activate your home's feng shui. In fact, few hotels or shopping malls will ever operate without having some kind of bubbly fountain. That's because it's both relaxing and it also stimulates the whole space with this beautiful xing qi, or beautiful qi. And when you see water, it's immediately soothing. And that's why so many of us vacation at places where we can enjoy a view of water. For the Japanese, there is no vacation getaway that's complete without a visit to bathe in an onsen or a hot spring. I know for me, when I think about going on vacation, I'm often thinking of the beach. I'm thinking of swimming pools. I'm thinking about anything related to water because it instantly makes me feel relaxed. It also makes me feel energized in the same breath. It's funny how that works, how you can be relaxed and energized at the same time, but in a really peaceful, calm way. It feels luxurious to me. I think one of my favorite hotels is the Grand Wailea in Maui, in Wailea, Maui. And it has a spa that has, oh my gosh, all kinds of tubs, all filled with different types of minerals and mud. And I think there's, 6 or 8 different tubs. They have all different kinds of water treatments. And it just feels so fabulous to be in there. It is a beautiful, amazing experience. Water can make you feel so fabulous. Now, when you think about money and fountains and water features, who can think of anything that's not is out of this world fantastic than the Bellagio fountains? I mean, casinos and hotels in Las Vegas know better than anyone how much money can be brought in by having water. I mean, think about that Bellagio hotel fountain. It's world-renowned, dancing fountain. This is the perfect example of yang water. Those exploding fountains. Yet it has that calm, collected pool that is in front of the Bellagio. And by the way, for anyone who is an aficionado of feng shui, the Bellagio Hotel, I have examined it upwards and downwards, backwards and forwards, and it has some of the very best feng shui. There is. It's textbook perfect. Absolutely fabulous. And if you've ever been in there, you know you have to throw elbows and everything else to just like try to fight your way through the crowds. It's because people love it. It's so well activated. It's so well positioned in the environment. You've got this beautiful fountain in front. You've got the magnificent mountains at the rear, actual real mountains. It's fabulous. But one of the biggest sells of the Bellagio is that magnificent fountain and what an activator is. So this is a really great example for you of why it's so important to have water at your own home, because it will activate your home with beautiful energy that creates money opportunities. Now, the Bellagio faces east, and the fountain is situated directly in front of the hotel, which is always what we want to do, is we want to have water in front of us. And this placement of water in the east-wood direction means that it ensures continued growth and popularity of the hotel. The fountain is made up of both that tranquil open pond and then that powerful dancing and illuminated fountains that are set to music. It's absolutely a phenomenal pairing. The company that put that together is just genius. Now, that hotel is always filled with guests, casino patrons, and others who just come to enjoy the beautiful and refreshing surroundings of the hotel. And the hotel water features have a big role in that popularity, drawing visitors and customers magnetically with those entrancing waters. Now, in a hotel or home, the addition of water brings so many benefits, such as activating wealth, activating for opportunity, enhancing health and vitality, and having a fountain at the entrance to your home or business is so beneficial because it brings that money, growth, opportunity, and health to everyone who lives in that home. So let's talk about how you can create your own water feature to boost your income, your assets, your health, and your enjoyment of your home and your life. Now, it's absolutely essential that when we talk about water, that we always want to have two types of water. That's generating and collecting. It's vital that all water features have both the generating point, that's the fountain, the spray part, and then the collecting point, which is the pond portion or the bowl or whatever receptacle that you have. That means that there should be a bubbling fountain or waterfall, and there should be a collection point. Financially, these types of water represent two types of money. That would be the income or salary that you receive, and the other is savings and investments, the money that you save, that you grow, that is your nest egg. These are the two types of money everyone wants more of. Now, we always want to avoid disappearing fountains because that represents disappearing money. That's money that fails to accumulate. Sure, it's great if you have lots of money coming in, but if it's going straight out the door and you never grow your assets and you don't have enough money to fall back on for an emergency or to make investments or build up your retirement savings, that kind of thing. This is what we want to avoid. We always want to make sure that we have both money coming in as well as money that grows for us. So it's so essential that we avoid those disappearing fountains because they represent disappearing money, and that's money that fails to accumulate. So if you want to think of it like this, is those disappearing fountains mean money comes in, but then you never see any of it grow. And that's so that's a real problem these days, is that, there's a lack of savings and a lack of investment. There's a lot of talk about, only those that are invested in the stock market see any gains. And it's true. The system is rigged right now to favor people who invest in the stock market versus saving their money. But I do think you should both save, even though you're not going to get much in terms of a savings passbook account, a money market, that kind of thing. But there are other instruments that you can use to save money. But we still want to be thinking about having that money accumulate. So whether you put it into investments or real estate or stocks or whatever you do, we want that to grow. One of the things that I had touched on earlier was the importance of having yang water. Now, we know that there are two types of energy in all things in the universe, and that's plus and negative, yin and yang. Yin water is a still type of water, like a gazing pool and even a toilet. Now, yang water is energetic, it's activated, energized, like the Bellagio fountain. Now, years ago, we talked about pioneers and settlers always knew to drink from moving water because still water could have poisons or bacteria present. So you always want to make sure that your water is active in your home. So even if you have a swimming pool, it's so important to put some type of fountain feature on it, a waterfall feature, something so that it's regenerating. So you've got both that generating and collecting aspect to your water. So yang water is really essential. So that's really that water that is moving, it's dripping, it's flowing. So important to have that. It's also important that the water flows toward you. Water should never appear to flow away from your house or away from a window or a door. If you have a fountain, make sure that it looks like it's flowing toward the door or whatever the opening is toward your home or business. Because if it looks like it's moving away, then that could be money moving away. Sometimes there are fountains and you will see them, the fountain will spit toward the street instead of spit toward the front door. And that just means money is just running away from that particular space. So always make sure that it looks like it's flowing toward you. Now, it's also essential that you make sure that whether it's a pool or a fountain that you have in your home, one of those small tabletop fountains, or you have an aquarium, it's essential that it's always clean and clear. Water features, fountains, swimming pools, ponds, and aquariums can only create good chi if they're kept clean and clear. Never let your water become cloudy or have your fish swim in murky water. Dirty water creates health and problems with money and relationship difficulties. And so it's essential that you keep up with the hygiene of your fountain or your waterfall or your aquarium. It's so important to keep that water really nice and clear because that means better income for you, better opportunities for you. Now, having water in the front of the house, very much like that Bellagio fountain, is so important because it means that income and money is coming to you. The front door and the front of your house is the receiving side. So this is the side, the point at which all chi enters. And when water is actually another way of saying wealth, when water is at the front of your house, that means water and wealth comes in at the front of your house. Now, of course, most swimming pools are placed at the rear of the house, but if possible, try to have the pool installed just a little bit to one side or another so that the pool isn't directly out the back door. And it's really important that you don't see the pool from the front door. Pools that can be seen from the front door can sometimes drain money out of a home and can often cause bankruptcy. So important that you block that view of the pool. And make sure that if you do have a pool, it's not too close to the front door. I've gone to a couple of houses where you open the back door and you're just literally a few feet from the pool. And that is a situation that can create a lot of financial pressures. It can also create a lot of bills, and you can sometimes see your money lost altogether. So very important that if you can, have some water at the front of the house, and if you have a swimming pool at the rear, put it a little bit away from the house if you can, and off to one side or the other, not directly at the back, and make sure you can't see it from the front door, because energy flows where your eye goes, and that means your money goes where your eye goes. So if you can stand at your front door, open the door, and see the pool, that means that money is going out into the water, and that can cause you to lose a lot of money. Now, you always want to enhance your water to get the most out of whether your pool or your fountain, or if you've got a waterfall. Enhance it and activate it with beautiful flowers and plantings and objects like urns. Urns are fabulous because they represent collectors of good chi. Another nice thing to do is, and it depends on your personal taste, is to add a dragon somewhere near your water feature. They love water, and having a dragon object somewhere around your fountain is a wonderful way to add a little extra growth and yang energy. Another thing that's really nice for your fountain is to add more yang energy by adding lighting your pool or lighting a fountain or a waterfall really enhances and energizes the water. So and that means your money is energized and enhanced. That means you have more opportunity. You grow your income. So when you're building your water feature, look for ways to build in these are like tiers. If you're going to have let's say a waterfall, build in a set of either like 3 or 6 steps, because these are especially auspicious and they are enhancing for growth and for heavenly blessings. And if you can build in some lighting feature in there too, it's really a fabulous way to energize that water, which will energize your life for income and for more money. Just think about the Bellagio, big lights, the dancing water, and you just can't get any more yang water than those fountains. Now let's talk about some water don'ts. It's really important that you follow some guidelines around water and the things you don't do with it. So for instance, you never want to be in bed and hear water while you're sleeping. Now I know a lot of people say, well, I listen to the they'll have alarm clocks, or their phone will be set to waves or something like that. It's fine if it's for a little bit and you fall asleep. If it goes all night and you can hear the water fountain or the pool running or even a toilet running, you know how you have like a dripping faucet that you can hear from bed, or maybe the toilet it's got a loose valve and it just keeps refilling. If you're hearing that while you're in bed and it's going on all night long, it can cause you to have health problems, lose jobs, lose opportunities to grow your income. It's so important that you don't hear water while you're sleeping, and otherwise it can really be harmful for you, for your health and your wealth. It's also important that your water is properly sized. It's important that there is enough water in your feature to activate the water and wealth energy. You know, we want to make sure that it's not too small, because those little bitty water, those tabletop fountains, they really don't do much. And you know, one teeny tiny little fish pond or a fish bowl with one little teeny tiny fish isn't really going to stimulate your income that much. So you know, you don't want it to be too small. The other thing is you don't want it to be oversized either. There is a case of too much of a good thing. And when a water feature is like a very large swimming pool on a modest house, that water energy can become negative and it can be harmful. So always keep the size of your water feature proportional to your home. Like I was saying, those tiny top fountains that only hold 8 ounces of water will hardly activate your wealth energy. So make your water sizable enough to count, but not so big that it's out of proportion to where you're placing it. Very key. And you'll know that by your eye. So I can't give you a really rule of thumb, but you'll know. For instance, in my mother's neighborhood, when I drive into her neighborhood, there's a house, and it's I would say an average home in the United States, and they have an enormous fountain. It's really a fountain that would be much more suitable for a grand 5,000, 6,000 square foot house, and it just dominates the front of this home, and it always looks oversized, and it seems like it doesn't work very well because sometimes it's on, sometimes it's not on. Anyhow, but it just dominates this home, and it just doesn't do anything for it other than to look odd and out of proportion. And if you have a fountain or a water feature like that, or a swimming pool, then that's going to actually draw some negativity toward you, and we don't want that. So very important that you keep that size and that proportion. Now, we also want to make sure that you place your water well. And besides at the front of the house, what else can you do? Because some people can't have water at the front of their house. It just, the way it works out in terms of their landscaping or the way it looks, maybe it's a homeowner association says, no, you can't do this, and you have to get approval for whatever you do. I totally understand that. You know, we can't always have a feng shui perfect house, much as I might like. It's true for me too. So what else can you do? Well, let's talk about having water on. It's important that you place it well. So let's just talk about if you can have water at the front of the house, it would be good if you could have the water on the left-hand side of the door. That is, as you're standing in the door, looking out toward the street, there's a water fountain to your left, or some type of water feature or fall or something like that. Have it to your left. Again, that's as you're standing in your door, looking out to the street. Water features that are placed on the right of the front door can attract predatory females. So if you have, for instance, you're in marriage and you have some concerns about some infidelity, particularly for a husband, then when you have water on the right, it can cause potential for wandering. Now, if you're not worried about that whatsoever, you can, and this would be a good placement for your fountain in terms of the way it would look and the way it would be sized, then you can place it there. I don't subscribe to that belief that if you have water at the front of your house on the right side, that's as you're standing in the door looking out, it's on your right. I don't subscribe to the belief that you are absolutely going to have your marriage fall apart. In fact, I've had water on the right side of my house many times, and that has not been a problem whatsoever. And a good feng shui friend of mine, she's done the same thing. It just depends on your relationship. But that's been an old wives' tale with feng shui for a long time. Now, another thing you might want to think about is adding some kind of a water feature in your living room or your home office, and also in the wealth corner, the southeast, because this really benefits by having water there. And the wealth corner is symbolized by a small leaf, or a leaf of a blade of grass. It's that small thing that we want to grow, because that's what we want to do with our money, right? We start out small and we want to grow. And having that water fountain in the southeast corner of your home or your living room is a great way to help attract more assets to your life and to gain more money and to grow your investments. We want to see them grow. And so this is a really nice place to place it. The other place where you can place water is the southwest corner. This brings prosperity to the woman and to the family. It's a really powerful way to add wonderful energy to your home and to your relationship, and to make a profitable marriage or relationship. And especially if if you're a single mom and you want to really add some extra security to your income, add a little more opportunity for growing your income. Really nice way is to add some kind of water feature in the southwest corner. And this is good for all homes. The east, of course, this is a good corner for growth, for health, and for family relationships. It's a wood sector, and it is so happy to have water there. It's like a big tree. That's how we symbolize the east, is a big tree. And what do trees love? Lots and lots of water. So it's a really nice place to put that. And if you want to put that, put a water feature in the east corner of your home, your living room, or in your garden, that's a really nice placement for it. And then lastly, the water sector is the north, and that is the sector of income. That's because we want income to be continuous and flowing like a river, right? And it doesn't dry up. It's not just a stagnant pond that'll dry up, that kind of thing. We want to make sure that we have this nice, smooth, constant flowing income. And a way that you can stimulate that is in putting a waterfall. I really like waterfalls, in particular waterfalls that have, that movement, and have 3 falls or 6 falls, really auspicious. It adds extra beneficial energy to your water feature when you have either 3 or 6 falls, and it stimulates your career, your business, and stimulates your opportunity to see a rise and growth in your income. And growth in income can mean growth in savings and investments, and we like both of those, right? All right, well, we have talked about water for wealth today. I hope you'll consider putting some water in your home. Whether you're an apartment dweller, you can have a small fountain. Just make sure you put it on a timer so it's on during the day. It's another way to add movement to your home. So if you're looking for a way to, and this is something I talked about in last week's podcast, how it's one of the great feng shui enhancers is movement, and water is is one way to add movement. So if you've got a home that you go away to work, this would be a wonderful way to add movement to it by having a fountain that will flow while you're away, and to activate for income energy. Well, here we are at the end of this podcast episode. Let's talk about those 3 tips I always like to leave you with. Remember to always have, number 1, generating and collecting water. So important that we have both income and amassing money. We want our money to come in, and we also want to grow it. So important. So those are 2 types of water. Number 2, no disappearing fountains. Those fountains represent disappearing money, and we don't want to see our money come in and then go right out again. And that's what will happen with those disappearing fountains. The last tip is make sure that you keep your water in proportion to the space where you're placing it, in proportion to the size of your home. Remember that example I gave you about my mother's neighborhood with the house that's a average size home, but it's got a very oversized fountain, and it looks out of proportion and odd, and I don't think it's going to be enhancing to that particular home's income situation. Keep your sizes in proportion to your space and your home. This will help you have an auspicious water feature that is a benefit to you and not a detractor. In the meantime, have a great week, and I'll talk to you on the next episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui. Thanks so much for listening today. Thanks for listening to 5 Minute Feng Shui today. The Year of the Rat is coming, and I want to share with you where you can find money, love, and opportunity in 2020. And it's all in my annual Feng Shui Forecast, the Success Pack. You get a full year of in-depth Feng Shui details about how to use the energy of the year for success and prosperity. That's because every year we're showered with a Roman candle of opportunities for money, abundance, love, and opportunity. You just have to know where they are. And my Year of the Rat Feng Shui Success Pack includes all the details for every house and every zodiac sign. You also get this year's lucky clothing, handbag, and wallet colors. So be sure to go to redlotusletter.com/rat for all the details on the Year of the Rat and how to make this year the year of your dreams.